Today, we're going to talk about how to improve your aim in Escape from Tarkov, but the steps that we're going to take here in the beginning is also going to improve your aim in any shooter game you play. I'll show you the steps that I take to help improve my aim in Escape from Tarkov, and I also use this to warm up in before I play. The reasoning mainly is that in Tarkov, you're not clicking on heads very often, right? You could go sometimes 15 minutes without seeing another player to shoot at, and that's not really good practice. In order to really practice your aiming, you have to have some other way of training your hand to move the mouse to click on heads, right? And with a combination of what we're going to go over, I'm confident that in a very short time, you are going to see a pretty big spike in your aiming capabilities. And then from there, it's going to kind of taper off when you get a good grasp on your timing and aiming. And we'll also go over how to improve your point firing and also getting used to aiming down sights and turning those corners and be able to notice that there's an enemy in your sights right away. When I first started playing shooters, sometimes it took me a moment to turn when I'm aiming down sights to notice there's somebody there before I shot. I'll show you a way that you can work on improving that as well. We'll touch a little bit too on sensitivity. Sensitivity is a very tricky subject because what works for the top streamers or the top gamers might not work for you, but so you're gonna have to test it. And the program that I use does give you a little bit of insight into how your motions are and if you should be increasing your sensitivity and decreasing your sensitivity. So it's really nice to try to help fine tune what works best for you. So let's get in it. So the first thing we're going to do here, and a lot of you might not like the idea of practicing your aim outside of Tarkov, but it is the best way to get consistent chances to click on things for your muscle memory, to adapt your sensitivity to the game you're playing and click exactly where you want to, when you want to make you better at aiming. So there's a software, Aim Labs, on Steam. It's free. It's really amazing. Let's get in. I can show you what this software is about here. And what's nice about this is that you can go into the settings here and you can configure it for the game you're playing. So we're playing Escape from Tarkov, and what you're wearing, the armor that you're wearing does slow you down, slow your sensitivity down. So when you go in there as, you know, it's like a pistoling, you're gonna have a slightly different sensitivity than you if you go in there with full Alton and slicks on. It's gonna change your sensitivity. So what I would recommend is sticking with like a base build, a base armor build. What I like to do for like my budget stuff is I run the striker helmet with the trooper armor, and then you set your sensitivities in here. I think mine is actually just 0.25. So you set your sensitivity in here, your field of view. We're not really going to be aiming down sights in here, so you don't really need to worry about this too much. But this is nice because now you have it tailored to exactly how it's set in Escape from Tarkov. So we'll save these. So I built this playlist that you can find in the workshop. So if you click on workshop and you click on playlist and you search for EFT, I think there's a few of them out there, and I'll put this link in the description as well. But here's mine, this aim training, Escape from Tarkov. If you click download, now it gives you the option to play it. Before we actually play this though, I will go over what is in the playlist. It consists of a strafe track and a strafe shot. These help with your tracking. Motion shot and spider shot are going to help you with your flicks. Micro shot is really going to help with making minor adjustments to your aim, and it's some good for those jiggle peekers, right? And then grid shot is just an overall good speed aiming task that's probably my most fun to play. And maybe by design I did sort this from my least favorite to most favorite, so that's how it's set up. But while you're learning, I would spend maybe do strafe track twice, strafe shot twice, do all of these twice through and see how you feel. And then if you want to jump in Tarkov, but if you want to keep practicing, then do that again. Normally for my warm-ups, I will just go through this playlist once, and then I usually feel pretty comfortable, and then I jump in and start to play Tarkov. So let's jump into these and I'll show you what they're like. I'm gonna turn on my hand cam now. I'm not boasting about my aim here because I can improve a ton, and I'm not like Shroud that can just, you know, click on heads at will. But it is nice giving you what my sensitivity is, and you can see how my hand moves. It might be nice for you guys to actually see that happen. So let's jump in here with strafe track first. Now this one is the most frustrating one for me, and it will be if you have a lower sensitivity. It's easier to make these adjustments when this little bubble guy moves if you have a higher sensitivity. So lower sensitivity guys, you're gonna struggle on these a little bit, especially at the smaller one. But I think overall, getting used to tracking something like this, even on a low sensitivity, is gonna help you. Like, even like if you're on woods and somebody's far off in the distance and you need to track their head, and you're probably aiming a little bit higher to get that your zero down, and then get that better chance to click on their head with that one shot instead of clicking, and then now they know somebody's targeting them and they might move direction, so it's going to be a harder shot. They might try to find cover right away, so it's going to be a little more difficult. Okay, so we'll go through this really quick too. It's nice that it keeps track of your scoring, so shows you what you can improve on or what you did improve on. There's this insights tab, which it'll tell you that, like, I do have poor tracking, and tells you what you could do to improve it, which is kind of nice. So let's jump into the next one, which is very similar to what we just did, but you have to click on these bubbles 3 times for them to go away. So it gives you a little better practice on tracking while shooting, right? Because that's what we're doing, right? We're trying to click on the heads, and just tracking them is great, but if you're not practicing while shooting, then what good is it really, right? So, and you'll see too, like these smaller ones out there with this lower sensitivity, again, it's going to be a little more difficult to adjust. The bigger ones, oh, this one's getting away from me. The bigger ones are nice and easy. You can sometimes just get like a super quick 3 shot on them. Okay. And again, we have our insights where it's telling me poor tracking, slow hand, my reaction time is below average. And then this is nice, it has a left side weakness. So it kind of tells you where you should maybe concentrate a little more to improve on, and gives you these suggestions out of what to try. Now, again, with a lower sensitivity, you're gonna get the slower hand, right? Because you need to move quicker for your mouse to move. So expect that a little bit, but as long as you're improving, you know, keep it up, keep going, you'll get better. Motion shot is nice because it gives you that flick ability, but on a target that is moving, which as you know, is not the easiest thing to do, right? So, and this one you can see too, it randomizes the bubbles. So sometimes they'll be big, sometimes they'll be small. So it kind of keeps you on your toes on where you have to aim. And they're moving all around too. They're high, they're low. I do find too when you're doing all these trainings, like try to focus your eyes on the ball you're about to shoot. I used to just mostly shoot off of my peripheral, but as you know, like you're playing baseball, ooh, high score. When you're playing baseball, I'll tell you keep your eye on the ball, right? It's the same kind of concept here. Keep your eye on the ball and you'll tend to click it easier. So this is a nice one. So hypometria, it's regardless of how frequently you miss a target, when you do, you tend to undershoot. This means that you're falling short of the target you're trying to hit. You can try raising your sensitivity or adjusting with continued practice. So this is nice. If you start to see something like this all the time, then you might want to try to raise it just a tiny bit to see if that helps. And it'll also tell you the reverse. If you're undershooting or you're overshooting your target a lot, it'll tell you to reduce your sensitivity a little bit to try to get you exactly to where you want to be. Again, left side weaknesses keeps telling me what I need to work on.
Spider shot.
Next one is going to be very similar, but it's just a flick. This one you're going to mostly want to focus on accuracy. Okay, so as you're moving, as you're shooting, these balls are going to get smaller and smaller. So this really helps you get that muscle memory to exactly where that ball is when you flick, where you want to get that red dot into, right? So your goal in this one isn't so much quickness. It's more just seeing how far your hand has to move to click on that tiny dot. I do like this one with a tiny dot because, like, if you think realistically in Tarkov, how often is somebody that you're really trying to aim at right up close to you? So like their bubble equivalent size of their head is going to be really big. It's not going to be very often. More often than not, you're going to have to make adjustments on a small bubble like the size of what we were just shooting at. So look at this again, slow hand, but we were working on accuracy with the tiny bubbles. If we had the bigger bubbles in there, then you can move a little quicker. But still, it's always nice to improve your slow hand and try to go faster and faster. And on this one, ironically, I had the right side weakness.
Micro shot. Okay.
So micro shot. This one's fun. This is like more for like jiggle peekers, or you know, like strafing back and forth. It'll help you with those micro adjustments, or like let's say you're fighting with somebody like around a tree, right? And they keep poking back and forth around the tree. This one's good to make that little minor adjustments that you're just moving you're just mainly moving I move my fingers a lot, not so much my wrists, but you're making those minor adjustments to aim on them because you're not sure where they're gonna peek out next. So I do really enjoy this one. This one, if you do start to miss often, gets a little frustrating because you can fall behind because it moves so fast. But I still really recommend this one for making those minor adjustments. And it even works with your flicks, right? So if you flick to somebody and you're just off by a little bit, this one helps you to make that minor adjustment so your second shot most likely hits. Again, insight, left side weakness. This one's so bad. And then this one is my favorite, grid shot. The bubbles stay the same size. and they just move. When you shoot one, another one pops up. So this one, you just like focus on both like speed and accuracy and see how you do. And this one, since we are going a little quicker, it will, with the sensitivity, like whatever suggestions it gives you for the sensitivity, whether it's saying try to lower or higher it, I would really take that into consideration here to improve your aim. And this is honestly, this one is where I spend most of my time in aim labs, just messing around and seeing if I can get a higher score than any of my previous scores. And we'll see our insights, quick draw, which is nice, but we're more focusing on the weaknesses, saying I have a lower screen weakness. But so that is the whole playlist that I go through. Now, if you're trying to improve, I would go through this again, just doing it for warm-ups. I would jump into Tarkov. So that's actually what we're gonna do right now. Let's jump into Tarkov. So now here in Escape from Tarkov, you can see I'm going to wear this same helmet that we put in the settings inside of aim labs, the trooper armor, and then I'm going to just use this AK-103. I've been messing around with it, it's pretty fun. But the most important thing about what weapon you're going to bring in is that you want it to have some sort of red dot or blue dot, green dot, whatever. Just get a red dot on it, because this is going to help you initially figure out where you should be aiming for your point aim, right? So you're going to turn on this red dot in your raids, and then once you get used to the point firing with the red dot, then you're going to turn it off and you're going to give it a go. So let's get into a factory raid. Right now we're going to do it offline, right? So hit next, we're gonna go factory, hit next, we're gonna click enable offline. We're gonna enable the PvP. The AI difficulty, when you're starting off, put it on easy so they just don't head eyes you with their shotgun, and then put on a high amount of AI. You can do horde, but with the amount they come at you, they don't really give you that much time for a break, and then it also can tax your CPU and all that stuff. So just keep it on high, hit next, and then we'll get into this offline factory raid. So in here, we're going to turn on our red dot, right? And we're gonna run around and try to find some of these scabs. So we hear one over here. So we see one there, you're gonna aim for him and you're gonna shoot, right? You see where your red dot is, it's pretty much in the middle of that, in the middle of your screen. So that's what you're gonna be aiming for, right? Where'd this boy go? Oh, and one thing I would recommend, not really keeping full auto on, keep it in single fire mode. So you don't, because you want to just practice your single fire tapping, right? So these guys you clearly hear upstairs. Actually, let me heal really quick. Heavy bleeds. Oh, this guy. So this is gonna be good. We're gonna wrap around. Oh, there's a guy there. This guy's really following me, huh? Come in here. See, you're just gonna, man, they are bleeding me up. So you're just gonna practice your firing like this, right? Not really worrying if you're gonna die too much. It's fine. It's just practice. You're an offline raid, so it's fine. There we go. There. One there. And the more you aim with your red dot on, the more you'll get used to where you're going to hit when you're just hip firing without the red dot. So then after you do this a couple times and you feel comfortable with it, then go ahead and get into an offline raid and then turn this off and see if you can repeat the same thing you were doing with the red dot on, so you can do it without it. All right, so now we got some practice in with the point firing. Let's go back in, same thing, right? We're gonna put it on easy, put it on high. And now here we're gonna focus more on aiming down sights. And it's nice to get used to aiming down sights when you're clearing corners, right? If you feel confident with your hip fire, then fine, you can go through and clear corners. But if you're clearing like you're in resort, right, and you're coming out of a room and you're clearing a corner into the hallway, there could be somebody at the end of that hallway. And as you saw with like some of my shots, the further you are away, the less accurate you start to be with your point firing. So at that point, it's nice to be able to clear this corner. I mean, nice, smooth clear with aiming down and looking through your sight and getting used to looking through at that dot to if there's a player, but then also noticing what might be in your peripheral as well. And it seems like it might be something easy, but there's quite a bit of times when I aimed down sights, I moved around the corner, and I missed someone sitting right there. And I know if I would have came just like this without aiming, I would have saw them. But with the distraction, and some of the scopes are even worse, like the EOTechs, right? They have a thicker rim around the sight that sometimes you can be aiming down, and somebody could be in your sight could be blocking that person. So getting used to doing this around your corners is huge to be able to spot somebody and just give them that click right away. So in this one, we're just going to aim click everybody, right? To see if you can click on their heads. And we're going to work around every corner you go through, aiming down. Now you're going to lose some of your stamina by doing this, right? But I want you to look through your sight when you're coming around these corners to clear them, to get used to doing this. Your sensitivity is going to change a little bit too while you're aiming down sight, so it's still nice to get used to doing it. You'll be building this muscle memory as well. We're always going to aim and check. Coming out here, we're aiming, we're checking, and we're giving a good look. Trying to concentrate on each of these corners. Oops, see, there's a guy right there. So it's nice to be able to do this and recognize right away that there's somebody there. I hear him, I don't see him. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna aim in, we're gonna look around. Oh my gosh. Scared the crap out of me. Why move on me? Right here. I guess that was a ricochet. Just like that. So, and you'll notice too with factory is that they all won't spawn in the same. Like when you get in here, you'll have a few to aim at. But then okay. All right. And you notice how like I strafed there when I saw that guy. I strafed, and you get that wiggle in your sight. So sometimes it's best not to do that little strafe, so you get a better sight, right? You better accuracy with it. And now that one, if I came around this corner, not aim down, right? If I came around this corner, he's far away. So for me to just like snap with this is not going to be very accurate. And if I come around the corner and then I see him and then I aim, now I just lost all that time aiming down, right? When I hold in, you know, I'm aiming down my sights and then I clear this and you can see him and take him out. So then after a few times of doing that, doing some offline raids and practicing those different techniques, when you get into a live raid, it'll become a lot more natural to when you're going around that corner to aim down sights to clear it. Or when you come around that corner, you didn't clear it and you see, you know, that person there, just to be confident in your point shooting, just to take them out. So I definitely recommend going into aim labs and practicing in there. I can't stress enough that sort of practice, the amount of opportunities you get to click on something is going to build your muscle memory more so than just playing raids in Tarkov and going, you know, sometimes 10-15 minutes without even shooting your gun. And I do that sometimes in raids where I go into a raid, more often than not with a scav, but still I go into a raid and I will spend 20 minutes in that raid without shooting at a scav, without seeing a player, and get out of that raid. And then that didn't help your aiming capabilities at all. So I hope you guys found this useful and be able to take something away from it. If it's just doing a quick warm-up in programs like aim labs before you get into your raids, just to warm up your aim and learning that point firing technique. Hopefully you guys can learn something from this. If you enjoyed my video, you like my content, please consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and then tapping that bell notification to get notified of my upcoming videos. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you in Tarkov.